I've been running a Reolink setup as my home surveillance solution for a while now, and so far it's been great. When they said they wanted to send over a few products for me to check out, I said, of course, I love free stuff. But more realistically, I think that these are two really cool devices worthy of a highly coveted radar video. Here we have the Reolink Home Hub and the just released Argus 4 Pro, both of which are marketed to those who want to dive into the Reolink ecosystem, but don't necessarily want to run PoE cables all over their property. The Home Hub is a sub $100 device that gives you a base location for all your cameras to connect to and will even do so wirelessly. The Argus 4 Pro is the newest iteration to their battery-powered Wi-Fi enabled Argus line and gives you a full 180-degree view with two lenses. Let's take a look at both of these in more detail to see if there's something that you can add to your setup. Now, before we dive into these, let me briefly explain what these are and what they are not. These are affordable devices set up to give you a solid surveillance setup. These are not devices that you'll be using to defend Fort Knox or a high security, high traffic area. This is due to a few things, but mostly the nature of Wi-Fi being inconsistent compared to a wired connection, along with a few other things that we'll cover in a bit. Let's start with the Home Hub. For $90, you get this compact little device that will connect directly to your Reolink Wi-Fi cameras via Wi-Fi and let you store your recordings. It will also work with any wired cameras you have in your network as well. This is comparable to the NVR I run for my main setup in that they both act as a hub for my cameras. That's where these similarities end though. There are two main differences here. One is that the NVR is designed for PoE cameras and works with Wi-Fi ones on your network, while the Home Hub is designed for Wi-Fi cameras, but will work with your wired ones on your network as well. The Home Hub actually has its own Wi-Fi antennas, allowing for a direct communication with your Reolink cameras. The other difference is that the NVR records directly to a single 3.5-inch hard drive, while the Home Hub uses two micro SD card slots. I do like the dual slots, but I don't believe there's a way to record to both at the same time, which would be nice for redundancy. Setup is easy enough too. Just plug the hub into your modem or router, scan the QR code on the Home Hub in the Reolink app, and add it to your account. From there, any Wi-Fi camera you want to add can be done in the same way, and boom, the camera's recording to your hub. I initially thought that the hub would connect to your network wirelessly rather than hardwired, but turns out you do have to wire it into your router. I'm not complaining about this, I just wanted to clear that up. In the app, you have access to some useful settings like sending email alerts, recording directly to an FTP server, storage configuration, and even sharing this device with another user. I really like the FTP feature, and it's actually something that I use on my main system. Oh, and probably the most important feature is that you can encrypt all of your recordings. In the event that someone steals the device or SD card, the data will be useless for them. So for $90, I think this is an awesome little hub for a small surveillance system, possibly for a rental where you don't want to run any wires, or an apartment where all of your cameras are going to be in wireless range of the hub. But yeah, while I think it's cool, it's not something that's going to make it into my actual setup. I just have no need for it, and that's okay. One thing that I do think will make it into my actual setup is the Argus 4 Pro. What this is a Wi-Fi enabled 180-degree dual lens camera with a built-in battery that can be charged via a small solar panel. Now, if you've seen my videos or just a Reolink connoisseur, then you'll know that they already have 180-degree cameras with their Duo line. I'm actually using one right now in the Duo 3. They don't make a Duo 3 in Wi-Fi yet, but they do have a Duo 2 that comes in a Wi-Fi enabled battery-powered flavor just like the Argus 4 Pro. So what's the difference? Well, I'm glad you asked because I made this little chart to highlight the differences. The chart also includes the regular Argus 4. The main thing you'll immediately notice if you can read is that the Argus line, and especially the Pro, gives you a much better image on paper. You get a higher resolution, a larger sensor, wider aperture, and even color X night vision. Although you're only getting 15 frames per second on the Argus versus 20 on the Duo. I think the Pro definitely lives up to its name here. Some more subtle differences between the Argus and the Duo are that the Argus cameras have a full 180-degree field of view, while the Duo only has 170. They also get Wi-Fi 6, while the Duo has Wi-Fi 5, and then obviously the price. At the time of recording this, the Duo 2 Wi-Fi is $154, the Argus 4 is $170, and the Argus 4 Pro is $200. Honestly, pretty close in price. And to be fair, I feel like it's hard to comment on the price of Reolink stuff because I feel like they always have some kind of sale going on. But at these prices, I think that's pretty reasonable. Some of the features all of these cameras share though are the spotlight, smart detection capabilities, a max of a 128GB micro SD card, and two-way audio. On paper, I don't think you would go wrong with any of these. If you really want 4K and colored night vision, then go with the Argus 4 Pro. But this is all on paper. What about actually using this setup? Well, I did that. I set up the hub in my living room, which conveniently has a wired connection back to the router and is within a stone's throw from where I set up the Argus 4 Pro. I mounted it on the far end of my yard to give me a full 180-degree view of my backyard. This angle wouldn't be possible with a PoE camera. I mean, with enough money, anything's possible, but you know what I mean. There were no issues with the connection, and I haven't experienced any lag when doing real-time playback. If I had to guess, it's probably like 100 feet away, so do whatever you want with that information. It's hard to review the hub because, it does what it's supposed to and records my footage, so as long as it's doing that, I'm happy. I can't speak for the longevity of it since that's not what this review is about, but I will say that I wouldn't use the hub for a setup that is recording 24/7 as it's going to kill those SD cards pretty quick. So if you get this, make sure to set it up to record only on motion. Now for the Argus 4 Pro, this thing slaps. The image quality is fantastic both during the day and at night thanks to the super wide aperture and ColorX night vision. There is a noticeable line in the center sometimes where the two lenses stitch together, so it's not perfect, but apparently you can adjust that in the settings. I'll take this quality in a 100-degree single camera setup over having to deploy multiple cameras any day. Just for fun, let's compare similar images from my Duo 3. During the day, they both give you a pretty great picture, and honestly, you might not even notice a difference. Remember, this is a surveillance system, not a cinema camera. Maybe you can notice a difference with moving objects since the Argus runs at 15 FPS and the Duo at 20. During the night though, there's an obvious difference. Here you can see what it looks like when it's pretty much pitch black outside with no spotlight. The fact that you can even make out anything with zero light is pretty impressive. Obviously not perfect, but come on. But I'd recommend to have it use the spotlight if you want a better picture. So again, if you care about the ColorX night vision, then snag an Argus. If you like the IR view, then get a Duo. Note that the cameras with spotlights will turn on when motion is detected, giving you colored night vision when there's motion, but for the rest of the time you get IR. I've gone over other features in my Reolink videos, but really quickly, the spotlight works, the two-way audio lets you whisper sweet nothings to your intruders, and the motion detection detects motion. As for the battery, they claim it'll last 2 months with 300 seconds of recording per day. I'm not going to test that, but I did unplug the solar panel to see how much juice it would use during a single day, and I still had 97%. Note that this is without the spotlight on. So yeah, on paper, this sounded like a solid setup, and in practice, it's also solid. We do have to address something though. I know you just restocked your tinfoil supply and you're typing, Brett, don't you know criminals can jam your Wi-Fi, leaving this setup useless? Yes, I know that this is a possibility, which is why I mentioned not to use this if you're securing Fort Knox. In my home, I have PoE cameras for important spots like my front and back door. But these Wi-Fi cameras are still fine for less important areas. I'm not going to say Wi-Fi jammers aren't a real threat, but come on. Let's just say that I'm not going to judge you for using Wi-Fi cameras in your home, and I'm also not going to judge you if you don't. Overall though, I think that these are nice additions to the Reolink lineup. I think the hub is a great base for your system, especially at $90. The Argus 4 models are a bit more niche, I think, since not everyone needs that 180-degree view and ColorX night vision, but they're amazing for anyone who does. At $200 for the Pro, it is on the higher side for most of their consumer lineup of cameras, but compared to other brands, it's a pretty decent price. If I had to pick one thing from each of these devices that I'd like to see updated, it would be to allow for redundant storing on the two SD card slots in the Home Hub, and for the Argus 4, I'd like to see at least 20 FPS. I know this would increase bandwidth, but come on, let's use that Wi-Fi 6. But that's all I have. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are these things that you want to add to your setup? I do have a promo code you can use for a discount on the Argus 4 Pro while supplies last, so check that out. If you like this video, then go ahead and drop a like. If you want to see more videos of my backyard, then go ahead and subscribe. I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube members and my Patreons. You guys are my Color X night vision homies that I can totally see everything you're doing in the dark. Everything. You guys are kinky boys, and if you're still watching, you're a micro SD card. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.